Yeah, it's the big weekend of the Disney knows what the kids like. Bruce Springsteen is on the way to the and and they came out for it, but we'll get to that. We gotta
Yeah, quite a
so
varied
what
weekend here. Monday morning quarterbacks here Monday morning. Thanks everybody for joining us. Richard, I'm just going to do a little overview to start, perhaps, and it's interesting thing that kind of stands out. We had again the Hollywood gets crap sometimes from us for not offering films for different audiences, and this weekend you could not have had a better, more ideal weekend, Richard. And on paper, the problem is it didn't really add up to everything, but
I
you
mean,
had
it kind of some exceptions. It's kind of the C-list versions of all those
Well, I mean, true. It's not,
different things,
yes,
but
we could have bigger things, but in terms of how the demos shook out, you had Chainsaw Man, which is the anime film from Sony and Crunchyroll. That was 75% male on opening night, the demographics. You had Regretting You from Paramount. That's the Colleen Hoover film. That was
yeah,
80% female on for
actual
opening night audiences. And then you had the Springsteen movie, which was 60% people
for
over
Gen Alpha.
45.
Gen
Yeah,
Alpha.
Gen Alpha. Yes, exactly. Boy, the exact opposite of gender. Boomers, boomer centric. 60% over 45, 85% white on opening night demos there, Richard. So three different. That's three offerings. You're right. It's maybe a. I mean, not C list, no B list offering, but but it is interesting. You had three
No,
films, each going with different audiences, and not going after the same one.
so what collectively does that add up to compared to
It
last
does not
year?
add up to Venom 3, unfortunately. That's the problem we had this weekend, Richard. Venom 3 opened this weekend last year and made more money than those three films combined. So I think that's unfortunately, if you want the brutal net of that, I was trying to spin it, Richard, a little bit there, I think at the top, but the brutal the brutal truth is those three films didn't add up to Venom 3 last year. But
You can take that any way you want. So where
yeah.
what's our current tally of year to date done box
Yeah, we're
office?
still kind of
Year
sitting
over
at
year.
this +4. I mean, October's down year over year. Tron just didn't, the big movie didn't hit, unfortunately. That's just, and we didn't have the Taylor Swift did her best, but that wasn't the Eras tour, So we're just still +4 over last year. Again, you're about 20% down versus the late 2010s there that had some comic book films, other big movies in October, but but you're down pretty large, again, pre-COVID. So the next couple of weeks, it's nothing. We have another 2 weeks. Well, we have the Predator movie, I should say, coming up, which should be pretty big. But Halloween's going to be the K-pop Demon Hunters, and that's pretty much about it for new offerings. Is the
Wow.
second It's the second edition of a Netflix movie coming back in the theaters. So
The
you
return,
know,
return engagement.
yeah. So come on, Zootopia, and come on, Wicked, which is kind of at this point, everybody's still in the running man, I guess, to a degree. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at the end of the year you've got some giant firepower packed in. So when they do the tally at the year's end, they'll say something
we'll
like
forget all about October.
we're up 15%. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah,
And forget about the problem is if you're a theater owner,
yeah,
um, you have to meet your budget actually 12 months of the year
right.
and pay your employees
Pay your employees.
and
Yeah,
your landlord all those months,
yeah.
and you can't just do that 1 or 2 months a year.
Yeah,
Um,
skating by feels like the feeling, right? About I said, I gave those three movies. It was maybe a couple $1 million different. It wasn't a big difference from Venom 3. So it just feels like the whole month's been like just kind of skating along here, like kind of riding to the edge, so to speak, Richard. And again, waiting for this big end of year thing to kick in, but it's just not a great way to run a business. As you think you're pointing what you're saying in your with your comment there. It's like not the ideal way to do this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's go down the list here and
Yeah.
see what we got. I'm starting Chainsaw Man. I'm starting to think this anime
Yeah.
is a thing.
Coming on board here. Okay.
I mean, I I'd like to know what the budgets on these movies are. Like,
The Demon Slayer one, the big one from earlier this fall, that was like 20 million. It was like the amount of money Sony, and I'm waiting for the Sony earnings report, will come out in a couple of weeks. I want to see, how much that impacts their earnings, because that movie, that movie's at, I think, $680 million globally. Sony only has about half of that money. The other half's in Japan with the other local distributors. But for $20 million, like, that's crazy. This movie, I imagine, couldn't be that much more than that. So I would
I mean,
imagine,
compared to big studio
compared
animation, which
to,
is
yeah.
fantastically expensive.
I mean, the cheapest you'll see anywhere in there is maybe 80 million bucks. Illumination sometimes gets 70, 80 million bucks. And compared to the Colin Hoover rom-com, which cost $30 million, like that. So, it's not even to the animation comp, it's to some live action comps for a genre that, yes, typically, I mean, in a Disney film is, two times, that's 150 or something, that they spend on that. So,
and no one other than Sony and Crunchyroll is really
they own this market, Richard.
getting into the we always talk about how people just take dumb lessons and follow it and everything. Like, you gotta um, you know, people have to wear hats in the poster or whatever. But how many anime successes have we seen now? And I don't see anyone else following it.
Yeah, then who knows what the effect? I know there's the AI of it all in the future. Could you even do more of this? We'll see how that all, how that all goes. But right now, this genre, I mean, again, but Richard, we've had two films now in the past, I guess, 8 weeks at this point, and we won't have another one for a while. So it's not like this is this like, oh, this isn't horror where it's like, oh, we're going to have
Yeah.
one of these every month now. So it is this kind of, I think it's very much a hit-driven franchise thing, and everything else kind of falls in the other bin.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the panacea for the box office. But kudos to Sony again for opening that 17 million bucks on an opening. Doing over $100 million globally. So shout out to Sony on that for getting the audiences out, and it'll drop 75% next week probably, but is what it is. Black Phone 2, though, holding it pretty well. This is I'm going to give the scheduling hats off award in October to Universal on this for picking just a great weekend. And now, again, this weekend you have Halloween on Friday night. You're still the hot horror movie in town. So 3 weeks in a row here. Hats off to Universal and Blumhouse on the release here. Doing pretty well.
Yeah, go figure.
Horror October. Who knew? Yeah.
It is so it is part of the reason why they ignore holidays now is because you kill the shelf life of it. That's what I wondered. It's like, so you have a movie that's targeted towards Halloween, and then Halloween passes.
Oh, and then November's dead. Yeah. I mean, look, you have to just time it out. I mean, literally the Halloween franchise, dealt with this very problem, Richard. And yes, you would see once November hit, not a lot of interest. But again, the early interest, people are on to Halloween as soon as October turns. So you have and this is exactly what Universal did with Black Phone here, is picking that second weekend in October to release the film when people are getting, psyched for it. And then, usually sometimes you have other films flooding the zone to kind of like, compete. But this year it's, pretty much wide open for Black Phone too. So enjoy the spoils.
Yeah, amazing. Regretting You, another Colleen Hoover.
Back at the theater here.
Yeah. So 12 million. That's okay,
13.
right?
Yeah, 12.9, 13 million bucks. It's Richard. It depends how you want to gauge this one. I think it's a little by the eye of the beholder. It ends with us open at 50 million. So this is if you're putting on the Colleen Hoover scale, that's not great. But if you're putting it on a tragedy romance in 2025 opening with Dave Franco and Allison Williams as your leads, a $30 million budget, it's fine. I'm kind of trying to comp this in my head, Richard, and I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like the shelf life of these things, just having on your service,
I think you're the streaming aspect to it. Yeah.
These these romantic films, I feel like those will live and play forever. And like there are people that have the romance films on just
Netflix is
autoplay.
a cottage industry of this genre. This is definitely in the wheelhouse of what Netflix has owned, frankly, for the past since COVID, really, as a genre.
So I feel like for these theatrical releases is almost a loss leader, It's just like it's a marketing opportunity to elevate this title a bit, and then
Yeah.
go on to a long life on streaming. Where
On Paramount Plus. Yeah. So, $30 million budget. I don't think it's, to your point, it probably will. I don't know. It probably will come up a bit short on the production spend. But I think you're exactly right, Richard. Once it hits, even home rental on a Friday night at the PVOD market, I could see that being something. And then when it goes to Paramount Plus, I think you're raising awareness as you say, oh, it's that rom com I didn't go, or that romantic movie I didn't go see in theaters on a Friday, and you're sitting home and you want to watch something. So I think it has some value there too. So, and again,
yeah,
80% women for this, for this movie, and 75% were under 35 on opening night. So this is they reached a younger demographic, which would maybe a little bit larger, but still not. It's as I said, it's fine. I think it's fine.
well,
I don't know that.
think of it. So say it costs $40 million to make,
Sure.
and say they make half of that back
Right.
in theatrical. So if Paramount Plus can get then a romantic film title for $20 million, that's
Yeah.
a great
For their streaming service. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
that's a great
That's not
buy.
bad. That's not bad. So,
That's pre-aware now, and it's had a
right.
whole marketing campaign behind it already.
Yeah.
I think that nets out very well.
Not a terrible business to be in. So,
Yeah. Um,
which brings us to our main event here, Richard. What happened to the boss?
Maybe this town strips the bones from your back. It's a death trap. It's a suicide rap. You got to get out while you're young.
Wow, there it is.
That's what they say.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Uh,
You got any, $9 million, 16 million global. This movie did not open, really much at all. It's a $55 million movie with one of the biggest names in the music business. I wrote down a few theories of my own, but
let's hear it.
you want to go through it? All right.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't have any. I don't have any really good ones. So I'm a little on the bubble here. But go ahead.
Sure. I mean, the demos are really, this is, look, I'm in New Jersey right now. I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. I'm 50 years old. Bruce is not someone who speaks, unfortunately, the music is not like, oh yes, 20-year-olds listen to Bruce Springsteen. I don't know that, so you have a bit of a built-in skew to an older audience. I think the date, I'll second guess the date. I'm just going to say right now, I think you're in the middle of World Series. You got middle of October. It's Halloween time. Like, the Christmas thing with, and not to be too on the nose about it, Richard, but it's like the Bob Dylan movie came out at Christmas, and it did, I think, $11-12 million it opened to, but that went on to 75 million. And if your target demographic here, which seemingly it is very much 45 and up, let's just say that, you probably, this time of year doesn't scream ideal time to have, free time in their schedule where they would be like, oh, I'm going to go out and make time to go see this kind of thing. So that's my number one culprit. Number two culprit, it's just this, you've picked the least popular time in an artist's career to center on, and they tried hard in the marketing. They're putting in the Born to Runs and putting in the music that's not really about what the movie lands. The movie's really about Nebraska, which doesn't have the bangers on it. So unlike say Rocket Man or other things that were, career, Bob Marley, One Love thing, and Elvis, those were career movies. That's what kind of works. This movie was not that. This is, we both saw it. It's kind of a indie movie masquerading as a studio movie, which, just, I'm not saying they shouldn't make the movie, but you got to temper your expectations accordingly. So I'd say release date and probably movie theme are the two that I land on. You could also maybe argue Jeremy Allen White hasn't opened a movie at all. I mean, not that, people love The Bear, but as we both know, when you're asking me to come see you in the movie theater, that's a different proposition from me watching you in your home. And Jeremy Strong's certainly both great actors, but not a proven record of, it's not Timothy Chalamet doing Bob Dylan, which was, he's done Dune. He's done things that, have open audiences. So that's where I kind of land on that, Richard. But what do you got in your head?
Yeah, I'll say first of all, I like the film, and as a Springsteen fan,
it's enjoyable.
So first of all, I think you do a biography. You're kind of stuck with the biography you have, and this is kind of the only period of Bruce's career where there was really friction. Like it was kind of he started
Right.
playing at bars, and then it was a rocket to
Yep.
to the
Through
top.
Hungry
And
Heart and through the early 80s. Right. Yeah.
yeah, and he never went through a crazy drug period or any
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these other
Government
things that
censorship or, name your, yeah. Right. Yeah.
yeah. So it's it, this is kind of the most interesting point of his career,
Totally.
and that's the fact of it. It's I don't know. I mean, I wonder is what people want just basically a concert movie with some scenes of him
Play the hits, Richard.
at home? Like, I mean, is that what Bohemian Rhapsody is, or the
Arguably, yeah.
because it's a very small movie about him dealing with depression, and
Yeah.
it's not. I mean, you look at the Dylan movie,
Hmm.
and they created the whole world, and you have all these people playing the famous
Hmm.
personalities of the time walking
Right.
through it. Johnny Cash comes through and all this stuff, and
This movie has
you
none
know
of that.
there were
Yeah.
no other stars or characters.
Contemporaries.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
You see the East Street Band, but
Right.
I don't think they have a line of dialogue between them.
Yeah. I
But
couldn't even tell you who plays Stevie. It's like our little Steven. It's like, yeah, which would be the one big name you would know. So yeah, it's a good point, Richard.
so it's very insular, which is an interest, which is like I say, it's the most interesting story there is to tell about Bruce.
Yeah.
But maybe he needs to have a drug meltdown or something, and then make a movie about that.
Yeah. It's, I think the nature of the story is this, I'm like, and look, this is the story is based on a book. We should also mention that, so it is a very centered in this time as what the source material was. Where this is in the spirit of Monday Morning Quarterback, Richard. What would you have done differently? And I'm like, well, you could have been like, hey, Nebraska was this small thing, and then the Born in the USA story would have been the banger of the movie that would have been the Disney Fox movie to make, which was a man
I
coming
don't
out.
know, but to come out of this and like, okay, then you're doing stadium concerts, playing
Sure,
Dancing in the Dark, it just like
but that's
it,
yes, that's kind of what people
but
again.
but
I'm not.
it kind of undermines the authenticity of the story that
I'm
came
not
before.
Richard. I'm Monday
Like
morning quarterbacking the box office. I'm not saying the movie, but this is not. I'm not on. This is, like I said, a man coming off of call it a 8 to 10 year heater of a career. Where like, yeah, Barbam came up. We open on him at the end of his tour with Hungry Heart, and that's where we find him. And then it goes. It's dip down into some pretty dark stuff, and it's again great to mine and all this other stuff, but it's an indie. That's an indie. This is Goodwill Hunting the rock star. Like, this is somebody really working through some shit, which is interesting as a character thing. But for people looking, this is not the $25
well,
million opener. That's
listen,
all.
we gave. I will just say this: we gave. We have criticized the Disney company for just shamelessly mining IP and making sort of cookie cutter remakes and
Sure.
everything, and they took a swing with something different here.
Yes, they made
So
a real,
I
props to
appreciate
them.
they
100%.
do
I'm
this.
just
I
analyzing the box office in that sense from a
Yeah,
quarterback point of view, but not
I,
from a movie point of view.
I don't think this is massively expensive by Disney standards. And
Uh,
so I
yeah,
think they'll all live to fight another day.
I think
And
Predator and Zootopia and Avatar will make this a minor point in the Q4 numbers. So they've added something to the canon. Jeremy Allen White was great as Bruce, and Jeremy Strong was great. So
that's
but
what is like.
then we'll
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a story. It's a story. You're making a Bruce Springsteen movie. It's a story. These things have done well, and it's a story you've got to tell.
yeah.
And it they played the hand they were dealt. So
It's very much in theme with the Nebraska album, where it's like it's a story Bruce wanted to put out. It wasn't the banger of an album, but it came out, and everybody, and people revere it 40 years later, and that's So again, it's actually ties into the movie, the theme plot a little there too. So,
yeah.
and again, this is the first weekend. This is older demos. Clearly, older demos can come out over an extended period of time. first, chapter is not a great start, but not to say that this won't have some legs again with older demos and the target demo there. So we'll see if it
No.
does. So,
All right.
all
And
right.
what else stands out to you? The
Again, I mean, there's a small horror film from Neon. Shelby Oaks did 2.3 million. That is a horror entry. This was a Kickstarter funded film for $1.4 million. The thing I note about this, Richard, and just a side point about this stuff was, in 2024, both the Terrifier and Longlegs, from Cineverse and Neon, respectively, got these movies open to 22 million and 19 million dollars. Like, oh, they had no major marketing spend. They did all this digital advertising and all the success you can have. And I'm like, it still comes down to the movies. The digital tactics are great, and I applaud them. But it's not like, oh, they found a new way to make movies or to get $20 million openings for horror movies. Then I'm like, it doesn't apply across the board for every film you do. Cineverse had Toxic Avenger this August, which did $3 million and things like that. So just a kind of reminder of, when all this hype comes out about, oh, how did they do it? And they can just do it all the time. And I'm like, that's not that easy. It does come down to having a movie that people just want to see in the end, Richard. So that's just a small reminder.
But I say as my voice starts, I'm sorry, I have a sore throat.
That's quite right.
So people are
worries.
And the boss took a lot out of it there.
Fair enough.
A couple independent things.
Sure.
That the Begonia had a massive per screen on 17
it's nice.
screens.
It's over 40,000. So that's a good start for Focus.
Kind of crazy. What is the maximum you can have per screen?
I mean, you can get up to 90 to 100. I'm trying to think of the highest one I've ever seen.
You're selling out midnight shows, and
it gets pretty bizarre. And if it's usually when you're only on this was only on 5 screens. It wasn't but yeah, I call it 100. If someone, I'm sure that people can Google that one to find the highest per screen average ever. But if you're doing, over 30, you're pretty good on this, in this realm. And if you get, this one was over 40, so it's a nice start. We'll see. Again, this is Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone. You have some big names, a big price tag on this for Focus. So we'll see where this one goes.
Yeah,
again, kind of a two-hander, but a nice start.
I'd like to draw attention to didn't burn up the cash registers, but Blue Moon, the new original Linklater film about Rogers and Hart, is it's a beautiful little movie, all set at Starties in 1940s, which if that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will.
It's a Richard Rushfield special right there. Come
on. But about the lyricist Lorenz Hart and Richard Rogers, and it just opened, starting small, but I commend it to your attention, everybody.
Yes, and that's now on about 700 screens. That's playing near me. So that's Ethan Hawke and Andrew Scott, I believe, are the two actors playing those roles. So yes, if you have time, go check out Blue Moon from Sony Pictures Classics.
Another one I'm a little mystified, but so if I had legs,
I'd kick you. Yeah.
Opened at Sundance, premiered at Sundance 9 months ago,
right?
And then had fantastic reviews. Was my favorite movie at Sundance this year.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, okay. It's a great film. Really, the A24 keeps it in the can for 9 months after that, and then it sort of so it made 100 on 64 screens. It made 152,000
right
dollars this year, this
weekend.
I'm not understanding what the strategy was there.
The total's about 500,000 right now. Look, I mean, at 64 screens is not, my guess would be back to Begonia. We mentioned the 40,000 per screen. My guess would be, because it opened on a very limited, handful of screens, like, I 5, 4, whatever, 6 screens, whatever it might have been. It maybe that didn't hit the number they were looking at that would encourage them to then put it on 700, 1,000 screens, to have that kind of effect. That'd be my guess. whatever. I mean, we're all have our own little bubbles here. I've not seen or heard much on this film. I know
Yeah,
Conan O'Brien was in the film, was the big kind of like, oh, Conan O'Brien's acting kind of thing. I've not
yeah, he's not,
seen him out doing a ton on this, but again, all my perception. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But
yeah.
yeah,
Anyway,
interesting.
but this will all be swept away because next weekend we have
K-pop's coming back.
K-pop, the return engagement of K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah,
And
Netflix loved it so much they're coming back to the movie theaters twice. Yeah,
and anything else?
It's really not. I wish I had something else for you. Begonia will be going wider, but that is literally because Halloween falls on the Friday, and like the histories. If you go back through when this holiday, the calendar, this is falling on Friday. It's never a great day for the movie theaters, and they have their reasons. But I'm very curious to see what K-pop does, Richard. To make this an event. If they topped last time, or the sing-along version, people becoming in costumes, as I'm sure you will be doing on Friday. And then that's you have a World Series game potentially, and then and Sinners is back in some 9 IMAX films, 9 IMAX theaters this weekend. Just a shout out if you never saw Sinners or you want to see it in IMAX, it's coming to 9 major cities this weekend in the U.S.
Another great film.
70 millimeter print. So that's something a special event Warner's is doing this weekend. So
yeah, well,
that's the breaks, man. That's it for, as I said, we're all waiting on kind of mid-November to kick in. So we'll see.
All right. Well,
go rest those pipes, Richard. Listen, you got another chat to do.
We'll be back here next weekend.
We'll be back to talk about K-pop next weekend. Yeah, exactly.
Prepare for a short episode next week. So
catch us real quick.
Plan to get here on time because
exactly 1:00, everybody, or 10:00 in LA. So if you want to if you came in late on this conversation, it will go up at theankler.com. You can catch it in full there in video later this afternoon. And Richard, you'll have your chat this week as well, so you'll be back on Wednesday with a Rushfield lunch as well, I'm sure, right?
With Kristen Stewart.
We should be buried the lead here, Richard. What are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Special, very, very special guest.
All right, live chat.
She has made a new film that is a very interesting movie, and we'll chat about that and the state of the world, and hopefully my voice will.
Yeah, 2 days, Richard. So yeah, radio silence for Rushfield until Wednesday. But yeah, catch him on Wednesday with Kristen Stewart. Richard, good to see you as always, and we'll see you back here next Monday. Take care.
Take care.